Hey guys, it's OK.Fishing here. I'm Christian.
And I'm Jaden, and welcome back to Echoes in the Timber.
This is episode 6, 7. Uh, I don't know any other language. But we're making it, guys. Today we have a special guest who will be joining us a little later. We have a pretty juicy topic. We're going to be talking about how fishing, what's changed over the years, and we brought a guest that will have experience and insights that hopefully can help us see what fishing once was, and we're going to kind of see what it is now. You guys obviously got a general idea of what it is now, but thank you guys for joining us. Let's just get straight into it. So last week was, I'd say, pretty good, and we kind of discussed some current events going on. And this week, there's even more going on for Oklahoma. Be ready. I'll have Jaden take over. Guys, welcome to our Backwoods Bulletin. This is Jaden.
So, Trout Unlimited, they started a program where they're going across schools in Oklahoma, and they started out the project at Jinx High School and I think their middle school. But the project is that they bring them 350 trout fingerlings, like baby trout, and they raise them up for the school year, and they they make the students and everything, they go through, they have to keep the water temperatures right at the right pHs and everything, and it really teaches them like the importance of keeping the water clean to sustain trout, and like keep it in the right temperatures, and teaches them about the areas that in Oklahoma that are habitable for trout. But they raise them up, and they get to take the fish that they raised up and actually go release them in one of the two rivers in Oklahoma that is able to keep trout year round. But they're looking for more schools in Oklahoma for teachers to reach out and be interested in trying it. They're looking to expand the project.
It'd be pretty cool if they could get pegs to do it or
It'd
something.
be
Is it
cool.
high schools or middle schools?
High schools, middle schools, and I think they even tried it out with part of their elementary school students.
Huh.
But their ultimate goal is to teach them the importance of keeping our Oklahoma streams clean, because that's one of the main reasons trout can't survive in Oklahoma year round except for those two rivers. Those two rivers in Oklahoma are the only two that are people really push to keep clean, and water is flowing that's cold enough.
Yeah, I actually see that a lot because even other parts of the Illinois can be dirty. It is a fairly clean river for how much traffic it sees, but like they could do a little better. I think probably should be tighter regulations for floating the Illinois than there is, and really going anywhere. Like we found that Yeti cooler floating now. That I mean,
That lake is dirty enough.
that lake is dirty, and there was uh,
Trash. And
trash, and it was disgusting. I mean, that was pretty disgusting. I mean, it was nice to find the cooler, but
it
like,
smelled absolutely awful.
it should never have been dumped in the first place. I really like that, teaching the importance, and learning about pH and stuff. If they ever go into like fisheries or go into even pools, like you got to keep a proper pH level for pools. You got to keep proper pH levels for soil to grow crops. And so learning those basic science things and how to manage it will help you in a lot more than just keeping a little fish alive. It will.
And the fact that they had like, I think over like a 70%, like over 70, I think it was in the high 70s of a survival rate for the first time ever even trying it.
Do you know what the average survival rate of trouts raised in a fishery is? What it is? Like how close did they get to the
I'm not sure. We can probably look up the actual numbers, but out of 350, and 70% the high 70s to survive, that's pretty good for a class that is they've never done anything like that ever. Like the high school that is in we're talking about, it's a city high school.
Yeah.
It's nowhere even near the trout stream they took the trout
I
to
mean,
release to.
they have a aquarium.
But they took them all the way to the Illinois River to release the trout. That's a long ways from the school that held the project. But even on top of it, after they got to do that project, the guys from Trout Unlimited even taught them how to tie flies, and they taught them how to cast fly rods. So like, they got all around a really good program going. So hopefully more people will reach out and they get to do it again and again.
Okay, so it's talking about after they stocked. I can't find numbers on exactly what we're looking for, but I feel like 70% is really strong. So
And I think for the first time around for them to get in the high 70% on survival rate, that not only did the students learn, the people hosting it, they probably learned, and when they bring it to other schools, they're probably going to end up having better and better success rates
yeah, and
because they know what to tell them what not to do from there.
by doing this, you're making school fun. Like, I remember when I was in fourth grade, we had a new teacher, and it was the first time I realized I hated school. Was in fourth grade. I don't know what grade it was for you, but fourth grade was when I realized I did not like school, and it was that teacher, my fourth grade teacher. Well, the next year I disliked her even more, not because she did something bad, but because the students, her second year, she bought a bunch of eggs, and those students raised those eggs to hatch, and then they got to take home chickens. Like, what? Come on, how could you do that to me? Like, they got chickens, and I got. The reason I was upset is because the first day of school I had to do work. That's why I was upset. If that gives you an idea of how I was as a fourth grader. I believe the first day of school was about having fun and getting to know your class schedule. In
Well,
fact, in college, I didn't even do work on my first day of school. We just talked. Like, we didn't do any physical work. We just kind of talked about things.
they made school fun. They got kids interested in the outdoors.
Yes.
Taught them the importance of keeping our waters clean. So all around, a really good job to the Trout Unlimited guys. Like it was pretty important, and they're bringing more trout to Oklahoma. So
Yeah, and if we're lucky, we'll not only see trout, but we can start maybe seeing other fish programs, I'm sure. And just education like that. And it doesn't even have to be fish. It could maybe be what's something else small they could take care of. I mean, well, I guess
some of our smaller reptiles here in
yeah.
Oklahoma, like we have some pretty valuable reptiles that are taken for granted, like copperheads. A lot of people are scared of them. They kill them and things like that. But a lot of the times, if you leave them alone, a copperhead eats bugs. Like their main diet is bugs and other lizards and stuff like that. So they're not really interested in affecting a human. It's just sometimes you step on one. Sometimes you do step on one, you get bit. It's a snake that is very well studied, so there's a very high abundance of anti-venom if you was to encounter one.
Yeah.
So there's really nothing to be scared of. Like yes, it may hurt, but you are going to pretty much 100% survive that as long as you go get medical attention. But what a lot of people don't think about is copperhead venom is used for breast cancer. It's used to treat breast cancer.
Yeah, I think you were telling me that
But
a couple
like,
months ago.
if people keep killing them and wipe them all out, what are they going to be able to use anymore? They're going to have to
Yeah.
start studying something else. So like, small meaningless animals that people would deem meaningless, they all have a purpose somewhere.
Yeah, they all feed the chain
Like,
along the line.
there's a place in Oklahoma, they're trying to build some kind of big factory or something, and it's an area where it's a known place where Texas horned lizards, they they come over and they breed there. So a lot of people are trying to stop the factory because it's here. It's not a very common lizard, but even in Texas, its home state, it's an endangered species. So like, if we're killing them over here by putting a factory because they're coming over here breeding, you're putting a dent on them at their native state too.
Yeah.
So
Well,
that's not even just affecting us at that point.
let's go ahead and go right into our catch of the week. Let's hit a little bit about that.
Well, went out on a friend and family fishing trip. Went out fishing for some hybrids, had some friends on kayaks, and me, Christian, my wife and son, and little brother were on the bass boat. And, well, my son had already reeled in a couple of fish off my rod and his uncle's, and he was playing around with his own, and as kids do, he reel it, throw it out there, reel up, holler he got one. Most of the time, they don't have one. Well, one time, he was hollering that he had one, and he said, "Help me, help me," and we're like, "What?" And we look, and his little monster truck pole is bent over, and he caught one by himself.
Yeah, he hooked into that fish. He was right next to me, and I just looked over, and he was sitting there, reeling away.
He he got one by himself.
That's that's a pretty cool story, and I'm pretty glad to be there for it.
It's a 3-year-old that can outfish most adults that I
Yeah,
know.
I mean it was a good fish too. It wasn't even a small one. Like it
Yeah,
was a good fish.
you gotta go put in the time like he does. You get to go fishing whenever I take him.
Has he been talking about getting back on the bass boat?
He went fishing yesterday.
Did he?
He made sure he made us take him fishing
What
yesterday.
about the bass boat? What has he said about it? Does he want to go back on it, or is it scary?
Oh, he didn't mind it at all.
Okay, that's good. But that's catch that week.
He like going fast on it.
Let's
He did say let's go fast on it.
yeah. I had a lot of fun just.
That that boat is fun. I like driving it too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get right to gear on the table. So talking about that. Let's show what we are catching them on. I got two to show you. So these are all hand tied, and they sell them. They sell them pre-tied. I think you just said you bought a bunch.
Yeah, I think I bought 15 of them for
So
like a dollar 99.
I got a couple different.
They are one of the most cheapest lures you can get.
I got a couple different styles here. So let's go ahead and show you this. So this is one hair jig with white head and blue and white. This is what the color that I was catching a lot of them on was this bright yellow. And this is what some other people were catching them on. It looks like the tail's been cut or something, but it should still work pretty well. But just hair jigs. They are very incredible lures, and that
Really simple lure that catches a variety of fish.
yeah, I caught a smallmouth on one. So
Smallmouth, crappie. We've been catching hybrids. Sierra catches catfish on them. A drum.
yeah, no, hair jigs have been around for a while, and as we'll talk about later, they are a staple in fishing. They may not have their time to shine 24/7, but when they are getting hit,
They're getting hit.
they
Like
are they are destroying fish.
that
Like
one the other day, I'd cast it out, catch a fish, reel it up, cast it again, and after a while, that thing literally looked like a jig head with a little tuft of fur at the end of it. It had no hair left.
yeah,
They had skinned that thing.
no, and as we always say, we're not sponsored or anything. These are products that we want to get in you guys' hands so you can catch fish. You don't have to learn how to hand tie a jig. The guy who tied these, he's not able to tie them anymore for me. And I don't know how to tie them. If I want to, I'd have to go out and buy them or either learn how to tie them. But, you know, we're not going to recommend something ridiculously expensive unless it is worth every penny. And we're not going to recommend something cheap if it falls apart after the first cast. We're looking to help you guys out. And this is one of those things. You want to catch fish, you throw a little hair jig, 1/8 ounce, quarter ounce, 1/16 ounce. It doesn't matter. You don't have to cast them out far. Just cast them out, jig it up and down, and they bite on the fall. They'll bite when you pick it up. Like they destroy it. They really do. But for our main topic, we have a guest joining us. He's my grandpa. He's about, they say over the hill when you hit 40, so he's about to be over the mountain. He'll turn 80 next year, and he will bring us some wisdom, and I hope you guys enjoy him. So, as I said, this is our guest, and go ahead and keep talking, kind of explain what you're talking about.
I started fishing for bass pretty seriously in 1970, and I back then uh, bait caster was a rod that people like to use, and Ambassador 5000 was one of the best that was around then, with a fiberglass rod, and they're both heavy, and they've changed, and we have composition and graphite, which is a lot less weight. Plus, the Ambassador was notorious for bird nesting, and now the new ones have magnets and weights, and makes it a lot easier to throw your bait caster now compared to back when I first started. The lures we used back then were very similar to what you use today in a couple of ways. A jig has not changed a whole lot. It's a very good fishing lure and has been for a long time, and I think it probably will continue to be for a long time.
So, before you go to the next one, on the jigs, like today, common trailers for a jig, people use crawdad, and they'll use like swim baits, like
Mm-hmm.
for like the bigger jigs for like largemouth bass.
Mm-hmm.
The quarter, the like 3/8 ounce, half-ounce jigs. What's like back then? Did you guys use a trailer, or what did you guys? If you guys did, what did you use?
We used uh, not so much trailers back then. Pork rind would have been one of the things that we would have used back then, and they use synthetic pork rind. I think now more than the pork rind that we used back then for a trailer. But plastic worms were a paddle tail, and I really like the auger tails that they have now.
Okay, so jigs. What else is something else that you guys used?
Well, crankbaits have been around for a long time too. The I'm sure some of the first ones were wood. Now they're all some kind of synthetic, and we used a lot of crankbaits back then. Different ones that they called bombers and hellbenders and different types of crankbaits, and they worked well back then too. Another thing that they use now so much is their soft baits, the swim baits and things, and they've gone to uh, salamanders, crawdads, all different kinds of plastic bait, swim baits that you can fish. Some you fish pretty slow, some you fish a little faster. But I like the swim baits. Uh, Back then, spinner baits I think had just come out in the 70s, and I'm a friend of Jimmy Houston's. Went to school with Jimmy Houston and used some of the first uh, spinner baits that he made, called the Redman, and he was Bass Fisherman of the Year in 1968,
Redmond, as in NSU.
as in NSU.
So you went to college with him or Tahlequah?
I went to high school with him and to college with him.
Was he your same grade?
2 years older than me.
2 years older. Man, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then years later, my son and his son decided to bow fish, and so they went to tournaments and fished against each other later on. But the spinner baits were real popular. I prefer to fish a little slower. I like the plastic worm or some type of swim bait like that. That is still my choice of lure that I'm going to use back then, and I still use it today. And it's just that I use the auger tail uh, worms, and I think there's more action with that, and it's a good action. It makes it. In fact, if I'm going to use a jig, I like to use a soft bait auger tail plastic on the jig that I use. Uh, Not always, but a lot I do, like the soft swim baits and the auger tail jigs.
So I know Cream came out. We were just looking at this. They came out with the first worm in what year did you say?
1949.
1949. And the first like Cinco came out in, did you say 96? 95?
96, I think.
96 by Gary Yamamoto, but like um we've now the Cinco has completely taken over like compared to just the soft plastic worm. What so did you guys when you had the soft plastic worm was Texas rig common then
Yes.
or so it's pretty
More than anything else, we use the Texas rig. But for me right now, I still want to use the plastic worm instead of the Cinco. I like the way you bounce it off the bottom, and that's the way I learned to fish, and I've had good luck with it. And if it's not broke, don't fix it. So
yeah. That's definitely something
mm-hmm.
I something new we want to get your thoughts on. There is a new fishing lure. It's called what is it called? The urchin.
They call them dice baits,
Dice
urchins,
baits.
or
So let me. Do you know what a dice bait is?
No.
I will show you a picture of one so you can see this. Dice baits. So they look like this.
Yes,
So you have seen them?
I have.
They're really new. What do you think? Do you know anything about them or?
I have a friend who takes a regular soft bait and just takes the tails off of his spinner baits and just takes a needle and runs it through and makes those, but it looks like a jig with those things instead of the round bait just by itself.
Huh.
And in fact, I've got some that I haven't had a chance to use them yet, but he gave me some, and he says they work well, and I'm sure that they do. Another thing that's changed, not so much with baits, is before, when we first started fishing, we didn't have depth finders on the boats. Now you got this radar, and you can see the fish before you ever throw the lure out there, and it's fishing's a whole lot different.
Remind
now.
me of the video that Bobby Carlisle did. You showed it to me one time.
Yeah.
The using the fish locator and dropping on those crappie. What exactly was it?
He was the crappie fisherman of the year about 5 or 6 years ago, and what he did was he had his computer set up with a screen right in front of him, and he had just dropped the bait right down in front of the fish. He'd see the fish in the water, and he'd drop the lure down there. If it didn't bite, he'd pull it up and drop it again until he caught it. And he is one of my son's best friends, and he was the national crappie champion a few years ago. And it was all done on computer, but they do that with bass fishing now. You can use a radar and sonar, and
So
in fact, you guys have some of that on your stuff.
So mine will show me a little picture of a fish, and there'll be different sizes, but to actually gauge what type of fish it is, it's really hard to. So like mine mostly just shows the bottom. It'll show like trees and different structures, but like the actual fish, it'll just show me a fish symbol that is bigger or smaller depending on the size. I can identify schools, but besides that, I don't have very much. My fish locator is actually 10 years old. I was looking into it.
I think a lot of that depends on how much you pay for the screen, and to see the size of it and everything, that with it. Some of them can tell the difference between a catfish.
Yeah, the nicer ones.
And and I'm sure that's what he had. He was fishing for crappie, so he just looked for crappie, and he would do that. But you're talking about a lot of money.
He could have had live scope, maybe. I know you've heard of how the world record for spoonbill was caught in Oklahoma. Do you know how they catch them? They take the forward-facing sonar that's called fish locator, live scan. What's another name for it? There's
Most people just call it live scoping.
Yeah, live scoping. So it shoots a beam. You can shoot it below you or in front, but you can identify the fish, and you can even get a very accurate guess on what size they are. And they are so good that you can cast the hook out, and you can see that hook, and right when that fish gets up against it, you can yank into the fish. And so that's how they caught the world record 3 times in Lake Keystone. It's this fishing charter that they use that method to catch the world record. Is that fair? I don't know. They're out, like we go to low water. We're just blindly throwing into a river. They get to pick and choose. Like they can very clearly see that a fish is over 150 pounds, over 120. They have very good screens and everything.
They charge $4,000 for a half day to do it.
Yeah, $4,000.
I fished
crazy.
with the charter guy on Grand Lake. That was he won usually the largest fish caught on Grand Lake for quite a few years. He was really good. I fished with him and had really good luck with him. I didn't catch the world record, but
Was that spoonbill or
spoonbill.
okay?
Yeah.
Grand
And
Lake did hold the
and
state record for a while.
he could tell you, you know, if this is a big one, this is coming up, get ready, and we'd try to, you know, catch it as it went by. But he could tell you, when they were coming, and of course that helps, if you know they're coming. Then instead of like you were just talking about fishing blind down at low water dam, yeah, you just you don't know when it's coming.
So let's get back to this. What? So you were talking about this. The way people use this. This is caught this last tournament. There was a 11-pound bass and you said two 9-pounders, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Were they both? All three were caught on this bait. I think the guy who won the tournament only used this, right, or something.
He was using the Berkeley Lab series, but they came out with that just right after that same thing happened.
Yeah. So this guy won the tournament only using uh, that lure. That was the only thing he threw.
That's the one I just bought right there.
Yeah. They use the double hooks from frog, like a topwater frog. They'll take it and they'll push the eye, like where you tie the knot. They'll push that through the bait, or they'll do that with a treble hook, and that's how they rig these on. And they'll just like cast them out, and either they'll suspend them on the bottom. I forget a drop shot rig where it kind of floats, and they'll kind of jerk it and let the current move it, or they'll cast it out and it'll slow fall, and then the fish will just destroy it, and that's kind of what they use it. But this is pretty new, and this is kind of why I was gonna tell you, because last year is mostly, it's almost always been Texas rigs.
Yeah.
We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Fish specifically forward facing sonar in about 50% of bass fishing tournaments. Forward facing sonar is banned, and in those tournaments that they allow it, so like depending on the lake they're fishing is whether or not they allow it. There's only ever been one boat that won it without forward facing sonar. So it really shows how big of an advantage. This was last year a guy only threw Texas rigs, and he ended up beating out the
All the
live
guys with
scopes.
sonar, yeah,
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 he had sonar, but he didn't have the live scope.
yeah.
So, and you're looking at cheapest live scope is about $600, and that doesn't include the screen. That's just the actual transducer that does live scope.
Hmm. So how much you think this whole setup would be?
Like to do live scope and everything.
Yeah.
Couple
We found one.
$1,000.
We found one on sale for $2,500 when me and my dad went there.
And up,
Yeah,
and up, yeah.
and up.
And those guys that are bass fishing, they're up.
Yeah, some
They're,
of these guys got 10 grand plus.
yeah,
on
I
the boat
wouldn't,
just
I
for
wouldn't be
electronics.
surprised that they're not.
Yeah, and so
They'll have one by the trolling motor on the front.
Yeah.
Two by the steering wheel.
what I find crazy is their all their fishing rods and reels. They'll have $300 rods, $300 reels, and they'll have like 10 of them on the boat, and it's
Yeah.
just like, wow. If that's not overkill, I don't know what is. I feel like after a certain point, the value of a rod is just for show, unless you're chasing absolute monsters. I feel like bass fishing, you can only do so much with a rod before.
I get having a lot of rods on your boat in a tournament, not to stop and retie something.
Yeah.
But when they're all multiple $100 rods, like
If you're in there trying to make money and you're trying to win the tournament, you got to invest money.
Yeah.
I'm sure Bobby Carlisle invested a lot in what he had in for him to
Yeah.
be the national champion. And these guys that win the bass tournaments today, they're going to have not, they don't want to stop and retie. They're going to just keep fishing with one of their lures, and they probably got a spinner bait on one and a soft bait on another one, and then whatever else they're fishing with, they'll have all those on different rods and reels so that they don't have to change their tie.
Well,
Did they have any topwater lures back then? Like any ones worth mentioning?
Well, yeah, they had quite a few topwater lures back then. They had different kinds of frogs, but one of the top water lures that was we used back then was made by Hedden. Chuggers is what they called it, and I had a black Hedden chugger one time and was out fishing and on Broken Bow Lake, and we saw some fish hitting the top of the water, and so I threw that Hedden chugger out there. I threw it 6 times and I caught 5 bass. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen.
let's see if I can find it. I kind of want to see what this looks like. You're calling it a head and chugger?
They're the same ones that make the torpedo, Christian. Heddon.
H-E...
DDON.
Is that it?
Yep.
So a popper, basically, is
Yeah.
what it is.
But it's big.
Okay, a big popper.
Yeah. I had that one right there, the black one.
With a skeleton kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh, man, Papa. You have this exact one?
I do.
What? You still have it?
Yeah.
You might need to buy yourself a new fishing rod. If that's true.
I think I've got that one.
Because that's saying
That's still not
rare
much
color.
less. Look at that one. 228,
Oh,
169.
I
for
have
one of
seen
the
that
packets.
one, but I don't have that one.
Oh, man.
I think I've seen this clear kind of one too.
Papa, you might be rich.
It's like a popper with a wider head on the front end.
When I go home, I'll look. Let's go on down a little bit more.
See, that's the more modern ones right there.
This.
Right, yeah, they got a long, skinny
Yeah.
body. That one's short with a big head on it.
Mine's short like that one that you just.
Yeah, it literally just looks like a popper, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got its own flair.
This is more round. See, that's kind of flat and tall.
Yeah.
I think if I'm looking at it from way seeing it, mine is like this here.
Right here.
And I probably got 2 of them. I probably got one besides the black one, but the black one's the one I was throwing.
Yeah.
Threw 6 times and caught 5 bass. Now that's
how's the technique change? Is it still the same thing? You fish it slow, you pop it, kind of retrieve, pop it.
Yeah.
Okay. So nothing.
It's built to where it does a lot of its own action too. You just kind of reel and just wiggle the deal a little bit. And it kind of pops itself. So
Okay.
it's a good little easy to use lure. I think my experience is with topwater, it's better early in the morning or late in the evening. It seems like better than in the middle of the day. I don't have a lot of. I've never had a lot of good luck in the middle of the day with topwater, but it's a lot of fun to fish topwater because you can see them hit it, and that's and when it's under the water and you can't see them, you don't know what's going on. But
yeah, you just feel it, which I definitely had some good fish that I just felt rip that hook, but watching topwater, watching fish explode on it is something else.
Well, I think fish in a little bit different way. If they see something like a worm, it's a slow moving thing. They're not as aggressive. They'll just go up there and bite it. Whether if it's something chugging across the top of the water, they're going to strike. Or if it's a spinner bait, they're going to strike and hit it. So when you fish for a worm, lots of times you don't want to hit it as soon as you feel, because you want them to go ahead and take the worm instead of just picking it up, so that you'll be sure and catch it. In fact, I have seen the line move where the fish picked it up, and then I waited until I knew that he had it before I would set the hook.
Yeah, I know. I was fishing those hair jigs, and we were just casting them out, hitting it off the bottom and slowly jigging it up, and you could feel the fish take even those smaller ones. You could feel it take it, and then once it takes it good enough, you could set the hook. But like they want it just absolutely exploded, because yeah, you're right. It's going slow, so they're just kind of taking a bite.
It's nice to see when they just hit it though.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you please say that again?
Yeah, but so
sorry, I don't
fishing
understand.
has came quite a long ways from
A long
ways.
Boats, fishing equipment. Some of the first fishing equipment, rod and reel, I remember when we had braid and line. Now we got braid and line again. We went from braid and line to monofilament and back to braid line now. But the line they have now, braided line, it's a lot different than what we first fished with. So yeah, everything's a lot different.
Well, I think we talked about quite a bit. I think we can call that good. Thank you for joining us. You've brought a lot to this discussion, and you're very appreciated to be here helping us discuss this.
I thank you for having me here. I've enjoyed visiting with you about fishing, and maybe we can do some fishing and not talking about it later.
That sounds good to me. Thanks, my grandpa. Sadly, couldn't be here too long, but I want to thank him for coming out, and I was really glad to hear kind of his insights. Jane, what do you think about kind of the stuff he was talking about?
Well, first off, thank you for the service.
Yes.
And I like how he uses some of the methods back then that are still used today. And like some of the lures, they had different names, but similar style. They may be slightly different nowadays, but like essentially bass fishing has always been kind of similar. It's improved with different colors and technology, but at the end of the day, the baits are really kind of the same.
Yeah, they really haven't went very far.
Like he had spinner baits, jerk baits, like all kinds of things that we have and still use in bass tournaments nowadays.
Yeah, and not to mention ancient techniques. Texas rig has been winning tournaments for decades
They
upon
said that
decades.
one guy won one back in, I think he said 68 with Texas rig. I'm like, that's a long time for Texas rig.
Just talked about him. Can't think of his name.
Jimmy Houston.
Jimmy Houston, yeah.
But I think he said that one was a spinner bait. But either way, though, he said that one guy was back in the 60s for sure that was using a Texas rig with the
and
curl-tailed worm.
Jimmy Houston is one of the old greats, and the fact that my grandpa went to school, high school and college with him.
I was only lucky enough to get his autograph.
Cool. Yeah, but let's get into our campfire question. I'm gonna ask you. This is from a viewer. We were talking in our like this was months ago about Mexico and kind of the fish, what they taste like, and so someone ended up asking us what our favorite like wild game fish was, and I have one easy answer: White-tailed deer, if you want to be specific, a heart because there's better tasting parts on a deer, but the heart, you only have one little tiny heart on a deer, and it's like you're. I think natives kind of talk about like it is the most respect when you're eating the heart, like you're bringing that animal's soul into you or respecting you're honoring the animal by eating the heart. And I think that's probably why I hold the heart in such high standards. And if you cook it right, marinate it right, and it's a young deer, you're in for a really good meal. Like, they're ridiculously good.
You can't tell it's not steak once you clean it right.
Yeah, I mean,
it looks like a piece of steak.
yeah, I think it's ridiculously good. If you're talking about fish, my favorite fish that I ever had was halibut. Although I will tell you this, that sand bass that we just cooked, I've never had sand bass like that. That was really, really good. Like, that was some of the best fish I've ever had, and it was just plain old sand bass. Sand bass ain't the greatest fish, and we didn't even have all the seasoning we needed, but somehow they turned out really good, right?
Yep.
That was 10 out of 10. I recommend. What about you? What's your favorite?
Well, I'm gonna second you with the white-tailed deer, but I'm gonna say tenderloin off a whitetail.
That sounds so good right now.
Like, you only get like a heart, you only get one of, but a tenderloin you only get two of.
Yeah, and they're still ridiculously small
They're
portions.
small, and it's one of those pieces of meat as a kid growing up that's hunted and cooking deer meat. It's one of the pieces of meat my family is like, no, that's mine, or people fighting over the leftovers, pretty much. Like, it's one of those pieces of meat that when it's cooked, you may have to hurry up and get you a piece of it, or you may never see it.
And it's one of those pieces. There are I say there's two parts on a deer that you should never freeze. You should eat it within a day or 2 days of killing that deer, and that's the heart and the tenderloins.
So a lot of people too, a lot of people still fry the tenderloin like they'll fry up regular deer steak.
Really?
I like to just pan sear it in
Yeah,
butter.
I've always just had
With
it
butter and
pan
herb.
seared.
I just
I
pan
like
sear it with
garlic
butter
salt.
and fresh herbs. Is
Yeah.
like the best way, and then like let the herbs sit on top after it's cooked in the butter for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Set it on top of the piece of meat and keep pouring the hot butter over it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it seeps those herbs down into the meat.
You're just making me hungry thinking about it.
But outside of deer, probably crappie, white or black crappie.
Oh,
It's
yeah, crappies.
probably one of the cleanest, whitest, and best taste pieces of meat you can get out of just water.
What I find crazy is, even with how small they are, they still give you quite a bit of meat. Like,
Yeah.
they're one of those fish. Like, they give you quite a bit of meat. Like other,
Yeah, like their bones are like super small, so like their bones don't take up a lot of their body space. Their body
Yeah.
space is they're pretty chunky slabs of
Yeah.
meat on them.
um, but guys, today was today was really nice. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too, and I'm hoping to see you guys in episode 8 and many more to come. We will have a video posting very soon about us fishing hybrids, and hopefully we'll have videos jugs. I know we haven't been posting a lot of videos. It's not that we don't have the footage or ain't recording the footage, but
It's been busy recording the footage
we've been
and enjoying
we've been
it.
enjoying catching so much fish. It's been hard to keep. The only thing that stayed consistent is this podcast.
Like, we did the filming, but we ain't had the time to go through and
Yeah,
edit the film and break it down into YouTube videos.
I have 15 minutes left on my GoPro in footage.
I got, I think 20.
Yeah. But thank you guys for joining us. May your campfires burn bright,
May your adventures be worth telling.
and may the echoes in the timber always lead you home.